So UFC 318 is happening this weekend, and there's a fighter on the card named Auteba Gautier. He's from Cameroon. He's a young guy. He's like 23, 24, and I'm pretty hyped for him. Now, he's listed as 6'4" on the UFC site, but there's no way he's 6'4". You can't be 6'4" and have that kind of frame and musculature on your body, right? Izzy was 6'4" and he was really skinny and, long. I would say that this guy, Auteba, he's probably like 6'1", because in his Contender Series fight, he fights against a Japanese guy who's listed as 6 foot, and you can see like he's taller than him probably by like an inch and a half, somewhere around there. And then his first fight, he fights against a Bolivian dude, and Bolivians, they aren't really known for being tall. Like, Bolivians are some of the shortest people in the world, so the fact that there's a Bolivian guy that's 6 foot, that's like a very rare anomaly. I would say Ateba's 6'1", but he's the middleweight NGANNOU. Like I said, he's from Cameroon, and he's got that same kind of NGANNOU punching power. Like he's a brawler. He hits people hard. He's gonna knock you out. Like, his past 6 or 7 fights have all been by knockout in like the first 2 rounds. It's insane, and that shit has me hyped up. I mean, like, how often do we see guys from these parts of Africa? And when we do see them, they usually end up being really good. Now, this is going to be controversial, but these like West African guys, their genetics, like, they have good genetics. Okay, let me just put it that way. They have good genetics. They have very good punching power. Their physiques, the muscle ligaments or whatever, like, they hit hard. They're slick. It's not like, the Bolivian guy that he fought, Jose Medina. How can you honestly go for a guy like Jose Medina over a guy like this if you know nothing about the sport of MMA? A brutal knockout. He beats the shit out of him, and then he hits him with a knee after he was like showboating and like goading him to like hit him harder. But yeah, he's going to be fighting Robert Valentin this Saturday. Now, Robert Valentin, I would say he's the first real test for Auteba. I do think he's going to get brutally knocked out, most likely in the first round, but he's also got a similar type of build, not in terms of muscles, but in terms of height. He's a striker. He's long. He got wrestle-fucked by Torres Finney, and Torres Finney just laid on top of him for 3 rounds. It was a horrible fight. I hated watching it because, I was hyped for Torres Finney. Like, I was believing in the memes, and I was there wanting to see a big, brutal overhand right put Robert Valentin to sleep. But alas, it didn't happen. And now we have to watch Bakoyev destroy Torres Finney for his punishment for what he did to Robert Valentin. I feel like the UFC did put Bakoyev against Finney just for that reason, by the way, which is, bad for Torres Finney. But anyways, yeah, Auteba Gautier, he might get pieced up by Robert Valentin at first, but the fight's not going to go to the ground, I don't think. It's not going to be a grappling fight. Someone's going to get knocked out. When you look at the builds of these guys, again, like I said, about West Africans, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Cameroonians, this part of the world, the physiques are just different. And, physiques isn't everything. You need other qualities when you're fighting. Grappling can negate physiques, as we saw with Stipe and Francis in their first fight. And all of that muscle mass can get you tired if you're not going to get your opponent knocked out in the first round or 2. But I think he will knock out Robert in the first round, and I am going to be picking Auteba to knock Robert out. I think that's going to be an easy pick. He's like a -600 favorite, so most other people are agreeing with me. I don't see why anybody would pick Robert. But hopefully this doesn't age poorly. I'm really hyped for this guy. I'm really hyped for this guy. I hope that he's practicing his takedown defense, but yeah, I like seeing fighters from rare countries. You know, fighters from countries that don't receive a lot of fighters. We've seen plenty of Brazilians. We've seen plenty of Russians. We've seen plenty of Caucasus Crusaders. We've seen, lots of Australians. Now, we don't see a lot of actual Africans. And when we do see Africans, they're usually, immigrants that went to France or something like that. They're not like, they don't represent their actual country. So I'm hyped for Auteba. We'll see this. If Cameroon can stand out, I don't know if he's going to make it that far in the division, but if he gets a win this Saturday, he'll be on notice. Middleweight NGANNOU. He hits hard. We'll see. That's all I've got for you. Peace out.